Karen Coffey. I'm the Vice President of Jefferson Street Sound Museum, and so we just extend a warm welcome to everybody. Glad to have you here. The gentleman to my left, immediate left, Lorenzo Washington, really doesn't need an introduction. He is the founder of Jefferson Street Sound Museum, and he has been the flame keeper for over 14 years of preserving the musical legacies of historic Jefferson Street. The gentleman, the young gentleman next to him is Lucius Spoonman Talley, one of our living legends here in Nashville, the nation, actually internationally. So we're so excited to have both of these gentlemen here this afternoon. We're going to ask some questions, and I can read some of them here. We're going to ask some questions, and Lucius, you ready to answer?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, and I think we're going to have a special treat too, that Lucius is also going to share with us a little bit how to play spoons. So I think that's good. All right, okay, Mr. Washington, here we go.
All right. I want to thank again each one of you for coming out and hanging out with us here, over here at the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. Brother Lucius, thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting the Jefferson Street Sound Museum. We have a few questions here for sure that we wanted to engage with you in. And the first question that I have for you is, how did you get started playing the spoons?
Well, Lorenzo, I got started playing the spoons by living 2 blocks from you. Right down here, my address was 1021st Avenue, which was right on the corner of 21st and Albine, 2 blocks from here. And my grandmother, next door to where we live, she owned these flanks, like a shotgun, all hooked together, and she would rent them out for $5 a month. And we had a beer joint in front of my house, like a L shape, and we lived the long part like the L, and the beer joint was called the Pink Pelican. And we only opened Friday and Saturday nights, 2 nights. And my grandmother would send me down here to Jefferson Street to get her. She loved lamb chops, veal chops, and the only store that had lamb and veals was Odie's, which is up here now at 18th and Jefferson. But right across the street here was a tailor shop. He made suits and made drapes and curtains. And the city bus stop was right here, Jefferson Street. So my grandmother would send me everywhere, and when school was out, she said, I'm gonna give you a quarter, and you catch a bus and learn Nashville, ride it to the end of the stop, take another bus, ride it to the end of the stop each day during the school. Well, when I got on the bus here, it cost a dime, and there was this man and lady at the back of the bus, the last seat in the bus. Both of them was blind, and both was playing a guitar. And they sung tap dance on the bus and played spoons, and one of their daughters on the other side of the bus of the aisle, she had a tin coffee cup, and she would go to every passenger on the bus, and they would put in nickels, dimes, whatever they had, and his blind mother and father would sing a song and play a guitar, and he would tap dance, and it was entertainment, and it was fun for me as a kid. I ride the bus, and I wondered who this little boy was, Lorenzo, and them spoons, it just lit me up.
Wow. Now, how old were you then?
I would say at that time I was between 12 years old, between 12 and 14.
Okay, so between 12 and 14. Well, that was a good time to, a good age to learn the city. And especially when you were getting those free rides, to ride the bus. Now I've got another one here, Lucius. Could you describe, Jefferson Street back in the day, and what was it like?
Well, Jefferson Street back in the day was one of, I would say, one of the amazing streets for the black coming up in Jim Crow South. Jefferson Street out here from 28th all the way to 5th and Jefferson, anything a black man, black woman wanted, you didn't have to leave off of this street. We had several grocery stores, we had hardware stores, we had bakery, we had shoe shop, we had barber shops, we had beauty shops, we had drugstores, we had at least 5 or 6 drugstores, we had barbecue, we had beer joints, we had nightclub, we had skating rinks. We had a bowling alley right down the street here before you get to the railroad to learn how to bowl. And it was just a historical street with Fish University one corner across the street, Meharry Medical College, dental school, and further out the road here, Tennessee State, where there was A&I College. And to come up, education was all around you. Everybody had big porches, big front porches. They sit out on the front porch according to the sun. If the sun was shining this way, they'd be in the back or on the side. They had, the porch almost surrounded some of these houses, and it was just entertainment. You heard music all the time, and it was all, every block out here just about had a church, and we had 3 of the biggest churches in Nashville on this street.
Wow. Now, I know that Jefferson Street was a busy street, and the sidewalks was even busy back in the day. And we used to come over here on Jefferson and run up and down Jefferson Street in our hot rod cars. And that was a lot of fun to us. And we had the students from Tennessee State and Fisk up and down Jefferson Street. So it was always something going on Jefferson Street. And that was just some of the things that I saw on Jefferson Street. Now, I got another question here. What do you think about the music industry today?
Music
Industry today.
Well, it changes so fast today. Today, when the music made its big change to hip hop, no other music in the world could compare to the rap music that we listen to today. Nowhere in the history of music, record sales, record singing, pack houses, when they started, all you had to do was just talk and poem and rhyme, and when they started rap, it took off like nothing never took off. I mean, to live and see it, I couldn't believe it. I thought it was 6 months or a year, but each year it kept getting better, better, and better.
You know, during that time when the rap music first came into play, there was disco. And over there on the Music Row, we were producing disco music with Jesse Boyce and Moses Dillard, with Dillard and Boyce Production. And we produced an album over there, Saturday Night Band, Come On Dance Dance. They got 2 Grammy nominations. And we were up against Donna Summers during this year, I think it was 77. We were up against Donna Summers, and Donna Summers won the Grammy. But we never expected rap music to come in there, to come in and take control of the music industry. But it came in right after we got that Grammy nomination for Saturday Night Band album. The rap music came in and just sat there and took control, as you said earlier, took control of the music industry. I mean, they didn't let up, and we thought that disco music was gonna be the music to take the world in order to build a bigger music industry. We thought it was gonna be disco music and not rap. But as you said, rap music came in and it just stayed. It sat there and built momentum and eventually took over. And rap music is still here 30 years, 40 years later. Rap music is still here. And I never expected to see rap music set here like it's doing. I never expected it. Did you expect to see rap music around now?
No, I never thought it would go that far. And really, it hurt me pretty bad because I become a rock and roll drummer, jazz drummer, and rap music hurt me every kind of way. They didn't need no drummer no more. They could program, they could record a record in a garage, they could make a hit anywhere. And it'd be a one-man show, and I mean the crowds would be, it was unreal. So I had to do something to survive myself in music. So what I did, I picked up the spoons.
Picked up the spoons.
And created something with spoons.
Well, you definitely built a name for yourself with the spoons. Everybody knows the Spoonman. Yes, sir. Well, back to our questions. And, you know, you can answer them any way you want, as you know. Now, as far as these young artists and musicians, do you have a favorite young artist, today's artist?
Well, when I come up on this street right here, Jefferson Street, it was a way to entertain, to make money. So, by my father being a Pullman porter on the train, and he would come through here when he come off of his runs, the railroad here, and my father had to make overtime when the L&N would get through with their runs, and they would say, do anybody want the overtime? You want the Pennsylvania, the so-and-so, or this train? So my daddy, it was 7 of us, 7 kids, and my mother never worked a day in her life. She told my daddy, said, you got these 7 kids, you're gonna take care of them, and I'm not gonna work. So my daddy would take all the overtime that he could on the trains. He'd get through with one train, he'd get on another, and he seen all of these stars, and when he come back, he seen the good and the bad, and he would tell my mom and daddy about me being the oldest, I don't want that boy to entertain. These entertainers do this, these entertainers do that. So I'm wrapped around all this education. So my mother started, and grandmother, my backyard would connect with my Harry Hospital here. So my good friend was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, and his daddy had a drugstore called Haddock's. Haddock's lived on the marina side of the railroad. I lived on the Albion side. Me and Haddock's would get together. His oldest sister was in Fisk University. So in the summertime, me and Morris Haddock's would come over here to my Harry Hospital, and the doctors wanted us to be something so bad that they wouldn't put us out of a classroom. We kids sitting in a medical classroom, and the doctors thought he might hear something to be inspired to be a doctor. So they wouldn't put us out. So when it got real serious, they thought they would put us out of the hospital. They had another place in the hospital here in Harry where the doctors wanted to cool off. They come from all around the United States, around the world, and they would play music. They had a little jam session, and it was right next door to the morgue. And we would look at the dead people hanging on hooks. The died waiting on the undertakers to come and get them, and then we listened to the music next door. We hid somewhere, and at nighttime, I was really scared to walk through this way. I'd come all the way up here to the sidewalk because I done watched them dead during the daytime at the morgue. I thought maybe we were scared of dead back then.
Yes, sir, I understand. We used to have to go down this alley, and there was a tree at the end of the alley, and they said that tree was haunted. And when you come down by this tree, there'd be some of these guys, older guys, that would shake the tree like the tree was haunted. And we would have to go all the way around the block and come down another alley in order to get down on the Cowan Street. But we had that same problem with being afraid anyway. I got another question here, Lucius. Are you still performing?
Oh yes, I'm still performing. In fact, this February was the busiest month in my life and one of the best in my life. Country Music Hall of Fame had a black country star that lives in Atlanta that I didn't even know. I thought that I could play spoon. And he'd been on the CMA, and it seemed like music people know when some is a star, some is a hit. So they said his manager and him like to meet you. So they like to meet you at the Country Music Hall of Fame. So we set it up for January the 29th, and the weather was so bad and so cold, we postponed it, so we waited to February, right? We did it about a week ago. Was it a week? About a week ago, they had everything reserved, laid. We drove up to Country Music. They told us where to park. They was looking for us. They carried us to our dressing rooms, and our dressing rooms had bathroom in the dressing room, all the food, all the screens on the wall. And they carried us, and they said he'd be here when the airplane arrived. The manager and the star got off the airplane, come in. They went straight to the people that they were supposed to report to, and one of the country music people said, they in town, they ready for you. Said, we're gonna take you down to the theater area and get wired up for what we're gonna do with this thing. Said, it's gonna be it might go all around the world. It's gonna be an advertisement about country music or about Spoon they wouldn't tell me what the details, they just had all the contracts out. And my wife signed all the paperwork, and they put, like, I'm sitting here across from Lorenzo, they had 3 chairs for the moderator and the country music star from Atlanta and me, and they sit us down, and they done the same thing, what you do with the cameras rolling, and they asked him how long he'd been playing spoons. He said he learned how to play them at the age of 4 years, when he was 4 years old. I said, well, my good friend who I learned how to play back in Nashville, that was on the Jefferson bus here, he started playing at 4. I didn't start until I was way up in age out. And I said, my friend here wouldn't show me nothing because he wanted somebody in his family to learn how to play. So this country star, it got so good that I jumped up in the chair. I said, God must be in this, because the story that he told, it was the story that I told. He said he wanted to be a magician. I wanted to be a magician.
Oh, wow.
I bought books to be a magician, and I had mastered this trick in school where I would get all the kids' money. I said I'd take a quarter, dime, a nickel, and rub it on this arm and make it disappear. I said, now you're not gonna get it back, and you try to find it. And I would make money disappear on this arm. Well, he done the same thing. He bought books and we discussed that, and I said, man, and we got to talking about the spoons and everything he done with the spoon. I said, I play the spoons anywhere. He said, I will too. So the moderator said, let me see both of y'all play to a Rocky Top. Rocky Top is a bluegrass. It's the emblem of UT Knoxville. And we played it, it was real fast, up tempo. I played the spoons this way, that way, this way. He did the same thing. And I showed all the spoons that I had. He said, well, I learned something from you today. And I told him, I learned something from him. And then the next thing I know, when they took a break, the cameraman to get some more film, he said, he pointed to me, he said, that's my manager over there watching you. He said, how would you feel? He said, I got the #2 stage in Nashville coming up in June when the CMAs come. He said, I'll be at Nissan Stadium or either Bridgestone Arena. He said, but I'm on #2. He said, I don't know which one is 1 or which one is 2, but my manager okayed it. I'm bringing you on the stage with me. I said, man, what? I said, I'm too old. I'm 85 years old. He said, you old enough to sit here with me and do what you did now. I want you to do it when we come to town with the CMAs and the Grand Opera. He said, anything? He said, I got some surprises for you. And then they had 2 bags of surprises put in my dressing room. And we discussed this spoon thing, and he rapped too. He rapped country. I've been studying all his music every day because I want to be prepared for this coming June, you know. Mm-hmm. But I will let you know this. I just stole this at him. I said, I know a girl that live over in Australia named Abby, the spoon lady. You can look it up on your phones, on your computers. She had made over $1 million playing spoons in Australia and back and forth to the United States, Las Vegas, Steve Harvey's show. So he said, you looking at somebody that done made $1 million off a spoon. I said, what? So I'm still on cloud 9 from last week.
Okay. Well, we've got family here from Australia, right here in the front here.
Well, I know you heard of Abby, this Ain't the name Abby? I'm asking my wife.
They haven't had it over.
No, wait a minute.
Her name is Abby.
Abby, is it
I
Abby?
think
No,
so.
Abby is the girl that I run off of Second and Broad. When she heard there was a spoon player in there,
What's the lady
she
name
went
in
to know.
Australia?
Dale Spoon Perry.
Really? We don't know him. This is
Dale,
really
Dale
interesting.
Spoon Perry.
All right.
Okay, she
They're
went,
gonna look it up.
We're gonna look it up.
yeah, Dale Spoon Perry.
All right.
She's an older lady, about 70 now.
Really?
No, she ought to be about 68, 8 or 9. But she won British Got Talent. Simon Cowell, before he started the Nashville Got Talent, she won over in Britain.
Really?
Britain. Dale Spoon Perry.
All right.
We talk every once in a while. She'll call me on the computer on Facebook and say she liked my videos that I got up out there. And she always got something up about going through different places, playing her spoons, and she also played drums too.
Really? Well,
Dale?
that's what I do too.
Oh, you do?
But I never pick up the spoons.
Okay.
So I'm learning.
Dale Spoon Perry.
All right.
Deb Spoons Perry.
Now, the black country star is Blanco Brown. Blanco Brown is running hot right now.
Okay.
That's the one that's gonna be in Fanfare, when Fanfare come to town in June.
Yeah.
But he can't play drums. He told me, we was talking about me being a drummer. That's the only thing he can produce, write, and play spoons, but he can't play drums. See, to be a drummer, you're a drummer.
Yeah.
You got independence, and people don't know. You got the left hand got to do something, the right hand got to do something, left foot got to do something, right foot got to do something. You got 4 different things going, and you can't do none of the same things on neither one of them. You got to constantly keep your time going with one foot. You play with the other foot. You got to do the same thing on the top and the bottom. You got to be able to take one hand, and this hand don't know what that hand gonna do to be a real successful drummer. The same thing. But you got a lot of cheaters out there. And you got a lot of cheaters in playing spoons. I brought a pair of spoons to show. We call them in the spoon world cheaters. They hooked on, you can't drop them. You just put them in your hand and play them. You buy them at the music store. But to grab 2 spoons and make music out of it, you have to have, we discussed that, we have a good ear. And you have to know a little about music. In other words, we demonstrated to the country music that he would take his 2 spoons up, and he said one of the moderators was a guitar player down there, and he had to tune his guitar player. Well, in the spoon world, we have to tune our spoons. We hit different parts of our body to get different sounds. See, in other words, you listen to music. See, I had a background right here on this street here. My grandmother also, and mother would give me a quarter to take piano lessons. The lady where, at the end of this street where Wendy's Hamburger Drive-In, it was her house, and she taught piano. And my uncle used to do business next door here. It was a beauty shop, is one that used to be here now. And I wouldn't go to other streets because of the bullet. They might jump on me. So I would always take Jefferson Street to walk down there to take my piano lesson. And one day my uncle come out of this beauty shop. He said, "Where you going, boy? What you doing way down here?" I said, "I'm going to take piano lesson. I'm going to my lesson." He said, "Well, wait till I go down to your house and talk to your mama," which was his sister. He said, "Don't no little boys take piano lessons." He said, "That's for little girls to take." He said, "Get you a drum, beat on something, like you've been beating on your grandmama's pots and pans." Said, get something where you beat something. And they took me off the piano. And I started playing hooky too before they took me off. Because when they sent me the piano lesson, I would mark my book and go and buy me some ice cream, a milkshake. We had a ice cream parlor up the street here called Sad Bottom. Every flavor ice cream that you thought of, something like peach and lemon ice cream. Ooh, that was so good as a kid. I'd buy me some ice cream and mark the book like I've been to piano lesson. So finally I got off, and Santa Claus come to town. When Santa Claus come to town, he brought me a real drum. And I sit in my backyard down here at 21st, and all the girls that want to be majorettes, they would take mop sticks and broomsticks and march for me. And the older people my age would sit out on the porch and say, look at that little guy. I play that drum, and they would march, and with they march. So when I got to the 6th grade, getting ready to go in junior high school, and the band started Washington Junior High, which wasn't too far, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. When I got to the 7th grade, I couldn't tote that drum. So the band teacher come out to my house here and asked my mother and father, said, can you afford to put him on a clarinet? So they bought me a clarinet. I played clarinet all the way through junior high school. I learned piano, I learned clarinet, I learned trumpet, I learned saxophone. So I learned everything that I could, especially in the treble clef. And my high school teacher got us all ready for, he said, if your mother and father can afford summer school, go to band camps every summer and go to summer school. Said, this way you'd be guaranteed a scholarship for Tennessee State to play in their band. So instead of going in the band scholarship at 17 years old, I was 1 grade ahead anyway, because my mother and father started me to school at 5. They said I was too smart to be hanging around the house and wasn't gonna wait. So they didn't check nothing. She went down there and registered me at 4th grade. So I went to school at 5 years old like I was 6. So when I was 17, I was in the 12th grade. So at 17, I went in the Air Force. My mother and father signed me in the Air Force. And when I went in the Air Force and took all them tests and everything and told them what all I had done in life, and they qualified me for typing, teletype operator, like Western Union, like the computer today. I had access to where, at that time, we had an Air Force base in every state in the United States. And if we didn't have an Air Force base, we had an Air Force station. A station is different from a base. The station, we had 150 men, they'd be in the mountains, carved out mountains all over the United States, carved up, bomber here, bomber there, all the way around the United States. We had jets and bombers. If anybody tried to attack the United States, we were ready to snap your finger. And the same thing about, if you're listening to today about air traffic controller, that helicopter wasn't in his lane. In fact, that sky is just like the interstate that you drive on. That sky is just like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock anywhere in the world with traffic bumper to bumper. You got airplanes. This is for commercial airplanes. This is for military airplanes, jets. This is for the bombers. This is for the secret airplane, the five where we can slip over in Russia, slip over in anywhere before they can get us. So if you ever been in the Air Force, you know what it's all about. We got 3 clearances, secret and top secret. If you get a top secret clearance, they check everything. They check me from 1st grade all the way through life. And that's the reason why I had a top secret clearance and know what's going on in the world and how the things work. It's just like when 9/11 come. It wasn't gonna be no more. That other plane and got hit and find out what was going on. They done pushed the button for the jets to come out of the mountain. They come out of the mountain. They hid in the mountain. They come out of that mountain. They got runways built in the mountains, different places around the United States. Everybody know what the United States look at. We got it all the way around. You got crooked police, you got crooked border men. They come, all they do to come in the border, Trump can have whoever he want in the border. Money will get you across the border in here. The man who used to cut my grass, he said every time he want to go back to Mexico, he give $1,000. And they tell him where to cross and go in. When he get ready to come back, he said he come over here, cut all the grass he want, make a lot of money. He'll tell me, he said, I'm finna go right now, I'm finna get his money to Mexico. And he's gone. He come back 2 or 3 weeks. I call him So-So. So-So will come in and start cutting my grass and trimming my trees, and every time he said, well, I'm gonna bring my brother over here next. We come in the same way. They don't come across that border. They know a way to get here.
Well, Lucius, I've got another thought that I've been having since sitting here, as far as who are some of the artists that you actually met or that you did some things for, or helped in some way or another, but some of the names of some of the artists that you were around back during those days.
Well, the biggest and the greatest was met right here on this street right here, Jefferson Street. Lou Richard was staying right up the street on the side that we own now. The building is still there. It was a pool room downstairs, and upstairs was a hotel called the Delma Hotel. And Lou Richard was playing at this Club Revelot, which was at 14th and Jefferson. And his best friend was playing down here at the Delma Rocker called Rudy. Rudy and Lou Richard was real close. Lou Richard wrote his hit song talking about Rudy, Tutti Frutti, old Rudy. So one day I played hooky from school, and if you played hooky from school, we hid in the pool room up here. So back of the pool room here, wasn't no interstate back here, it was an alley all the way behind here going up. And when the truant officer come down to make sure wasn't no kids playing hooky, we hid in the weeds behind the pool house. And when he checked the pool room, wasn't no teenagers in there. So Lil Richard would come down there in the pool room, and he said, who want to make $5 or $10? I run, throw my hand up, he said, come here, kid. And he wore a lot of fancy costumes back there then. He didn't have a hit record. He said, run these to the dry cleaning for me. And I run them to the dry cleaning and tell him they have it done in about an hour to 4 hours and pick it up. And Lil Richard would give me $5 or $10. And then when I went overseas, that hit record car come out, Lil Richard, Tutti Frutti. Nobody in the service believed me, nobody. Everybody used to say, no, I don't believe a word about it and everything. So I would never try to prove nothing, but later on in life, when I got back to the state, Lil Richard, he still made his headquarters because he got so many breaks on this street and from one of the big clubs here. So he also like to get a plane like to crash, and he told me he got on his knees and prayed to the Lord, and he said when he made it, he told the Lord, said, I'm gonna become a preacher. So he quit show business and joined the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Well, their headquarters was here in Nashville. And every time I would see him, he would say, "Did you ever learn how to play drums?" I said, "Yes, I did." And he would always tell me, he said, "Play drums for the Lord." He said, "Do not play in no nightclubs, play drums in church." And I play drums in church every Sunday.
Wow. And you're doing that right now?
Oh yeah, I do that now.
Yeah, yeah. I got one other question here, Lucius. What changes do you envision for Jefferson Street? What do you see Jefferson Street being in 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
You won't know it's Jefferson Street, what I see is it would be no more close to Jefferson Street if the few that own anything out here, the investors, are buying up everything they can. Some of them live in England, some of them live, all of them, they live everywhere in the States. Invest in Nashville, put a B&B. In fact, they got so many B&Bs here now that the hoodlums, the ones who crime, they know that the owners are not here. The owners done put somebody to look after them, I give you some money, or real estate people. They know that. The young kids know that. Young kids get on Facebook or different things, say, "Hey, I'm having a party over here on Jefferson Street. You have 100 people coming there and they rented the place, they done broke in, had a party." They doing it all over Nashville right now if you watch the news. So I don't think Jefferson Street will bloom again.
Well, what I've always wanted to happen here on Jefferson Street is that we get a dinner club. I'd like to see a dinner club put up over here on Jefferson Street. Some investor to come through here, and I think that'll bring the whole community together with Jefferson Street. Once we have, because there's two things that work good together, and that's music and food.
I agree with you, Lorenzo, but I got a friend, and if you look around, the next best thing to Jefferson Street, close to it, in a few years, is getting ready to start now. In fact, they got the first 3-story building in Bartow across the river here. And Mahara is on the bottom floor. Mahara is gonna have a clinic or something on the bottom.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's right across from Kroger's on
Right.
Clarksville Highway.
Yeah.
And I've been attending some of the meetings. They got some heavy hitters, and they playing in a few months. I would say when the weather get good. The Sonic done already closed across the Bartow Bridge, and they got B&Bs everywhere out there. So I think the dinner club name brand places will be coming soon to Bartow.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's just, I would say before this year is over, you're gonna see a different, but to now this is just my opinion, one person, my opinion. And my opinion might not matter to nobody, but I can't see Jefferson Street nowhere near to the Jefferson Street I grew up and played on.
Yeah, yeah,
See,
yeah.
me and Kendall that wrote the book, we've been working together side by side, and the man said, "I never seen nothing like it." He said, I traced everything about Lucius, Talley, and I traced everything about Kendall. He said, at first one lawyer said, "I thought that boy Talley was exaggerating." He said, but the man who wrote the book said both of them on the same page, and they called me and I said, "Read why we on the same page." He lived on Jefferson Street. I performed on Jefferson Street.
Mm-hmm.
And what he's reading, what he wrote about, his mama and father was well educators, and well educators, they didn't let their kids come out and do what we did. See, he lived it, but I played it. That's the thing. And then the other people that know more, way more than I know, they're in the graveyard. So all this stuff was about to get away and die.
Yeah.
See, it's so many things, so many people learn so much. Like right here, the history that you got. Ella James, Little Richard. In fact, one of the greatest stories that hit me is Maurice Davis. You can take that name and look it up in the computer or anything you want. Maurice Davis, I got a picture of him in your case out there with my band. Maurice was in school at Tennessee State from Memphis, Tennessee. He got 2 degrees in music out here at Tennessee State. He left Tennessee State and went to the University of Michigan and got a PhD in music and become one of the founders of the Funk Brothers of Motown. He helped write Papa Was a Rolling Stone with the Temptations. And we connected at one of these homecoming parades. I was playing drums on a float coming down this street, and he thought that was me, and the parade break up right there after the judging board. In fact, that year, they gave us the best group in TSU homecoming parade. They invited the band to one of the buildings there before Christmas, and they gave us a trophy that big. D. Ford Bailey got the trophy the other day, and we played, and he tried to catch up. We was on a flatbed, but we broke up, and he couldn't get, and he called me. He said, "Was that you on that float?" I said, "Yeah, that was me." He said, "I thought you was with James Brown or Ray Charles or somebody." I said, "No, I went to New York and lived in New York for 5 years." I said, and then when I come back, I got a job in the post office in New York, and I transferred. My daddy was getting up in age, and my mother didn't want me to come back. She just wanted me to stay there and do the career. So I come back here to Nashville and got transferred on the same job that my daddy did and worked side by side. And then I slipped and helped my daddy every day. In fact, he was the oldest mailman in the city here when he retired. He was 76 years old, still carrying mail in Nashville, and never learned how to drive. They had a brand new mail truck that stayed parked every day. And his mail route was behind the reservoir in Nashville, straight out 8th Avenue. But they started him out walking right there at 8th and Broad. He walked right to Sears and Roebuck's, drop off a few letters to Sears back there, and go down a street called Bass. They don't have that street no more. Then he would cross where Ford Knox Laundry and cross the street at 8th and Edge Hill and get behind the reservoir and them projects out there. But when he retired at 76, every TV station here, Channel 2, 4, and 5, the post office sent him away in a limousine, had a limousine to carry him out to his route, and then pick him up in the limousine. Then this Inquirer magazine come out. It was a gospel paper, some kind of paper that they sold in every supermarket, and they wanted a story and wanted to put him in Nationwide. Well, my mother didn't believe in that. She said he didn't have enough pat on the back, no more. So he called me, he said, "Your daddy, can he have these people to come to your house?" My mama said, "You better not do it." I said, "I won't do it." So they had offered me $500 to take my daddy to my house, and the people from New York had done. Well, first of all, they wanted to make a lie up. They wanted to say reason why he carried mail so long, and he didn't need to drive or learn how to drive, so he was taking some kind of lemonade and honey and mix it up. And my mama said, that's just a lie. She said, you're not gonna do that. And I left it alone. And that now, when I got working side by side my daddy, and the boss said, we got an order from Washington, D.C. that he got to go. Like right now, none of that stuff that our president is saying now, it's not gonna work. It's just simply it's not gonna work. They got to go before Congress. Okay, now, when they said my daddy had to go, he didn't go. They told Washington, D.C. that we gonna send him out of there and everything. They never sent him there. He stayed there. He retired in 1990. My daddy retired in 1990. I retired in 1992. I love history. I tried to get him. I said, Daddy, stay here 2 more years. He said, He said, I can't take this snow and ice no more. He said, I can't take it no more. I got to go. And he retired. My daddy retired in 1990. I retired in 1992. And I continued my history trail. In fact, where I was raised at, I had the mail route to come right down the street. I had this mail route out here on Jefferson Street. Everything, the neighborhood that I grew up, I wanted to show all the people in the neighborhood that I was a bad kid coming up, but look at me now, I'm a mailman. I'm bringing y'all mail now. They were so proud of me, you know. And I just love history and go after it. And I was warned that come up out here in this North Nashville, and when they said can't and ain't, I didn't believe in either one of them words. And don't tell me I can't, don't tell me I ain't. And I stayed right here. I wouldn't go to Brentwood. I wouldn't go nowhere. In fact, me and Kendall was on stage, and the question come up at the theater. It was at a theater after the play was over. The play was about Jefferson Street and what happened to Jefferson Street. And can we bring it back? The same question that you asked? Mm-hmm. One guy stood up and said, we never will be able to bring it back because the people that live in Brentwood now, they're not coming back here. They done made it. They're not coming back to Jefferson Street. The blacks that moved to Hendersonville, they not coming back. They not coming back. You don't have nothing to bring them back. They not coming back. They not coming back.
Well, that's why I was thinking if we had a nice restaurant here on Jefferson Street, that we could possibly start not just black folk, but everybody to come into Jefferson Street and spending money again. Although we see the tall and skinny's going up, but if we had some investors that would come in here and put up a nice restaurant and bring the blues back to Jefferson Street, blues and jazz, and I think that that would bring some of everybody back to Jefferson Street, or start them to come into Jefferson Street, because we still have a street with interstates. You got interstates on both sides, on both ends of Jefferson Street. So folk can maneuver and get in and out of this community. And there's still a little bit of land left. Now, after the next 5, 6, 7 years, it's not gonna be enough, a big enough piece of land to put a nice dinner club or a nightclub. But I think that folk will come back to Jefferson to hear good music.
Well, they will, Lorenzo. In fact, I agree with you there. But it's like you're gonna have to get people that trust each other. See, now that's one thing that we left out. In fact, when I come up, the ones who control Jefferson Street, they trusted each other, they helped each other. Now, I was at a meeting, I won't call no names, but I'm too old to do it, but several of them have did it. And the meeting was how many would be willing to put 50,000 into this. And that's how you do it. If we could come together like I come to you, Lorenzo, and I said, let's me and you put a restaurant up. Well, they come. We got support with all these B&Bs coming around. We got something to offer. But it's gonna take number one. The name of the game is money and trust.
Well, that's just like we were speaking of Bardo a minute ago. Now, I'm hearing in a certain group that there is some investors coming into Nashville with over $20 billion to buy up Bardo and that area of town back out in there.
I'm glad you said that because I shop in Bardo at Hunt's CB, and one of the players, and by knowing me, said, "Did you know that Hunt's CB been sold?" I said, "No, I didn't know that been sold." He said, "Yeah." I said, "What they gonna do with it?" And he's the manager. He said, "I don't know." He said, "One thing I do know, what happened. Hunter had said that he wasn't gonna sell, but he died. And his son, after he died, his son got a divorce. It's all over. So right now, the manufacturer, the warehouse, they put all the food in the supermarket, all the canned goods, all of this and all of that. They might buy it, they out there. But like you said, the investors is out there.
They out there.
See, I've been called to several meetings and different things. The investors, they've been here.
Yeah, yeah.
They've been here.
And they say all they wanna do is buy up the land, and they'll just set the land back here, you know, and lease it out and rent
Right.
it out.
Mhm.
But they want the land, they don't care how big or how small the spot is, they want it. And they will pay whatever is being offered at this point
That's right.
for that land. And they don't care about how high up you go, they just want the land. And they're saying that about Jefferson Street also.
Well, they getting laws paid if they can't go in there next council meeting after they spread the money where you can't go no in three floors. It'd be enough money passed around. They bought money's the key.
Yeah.
When they bring that money on the table and say, "I wanna go forward," it's gonna pass and go forward.
Yeah.
It'll go like other cities, you know. See, and nothing's coming down. Everything's going up, and it ain't about millionaires. It's about billionaires now.
Yeah, that's right.
See, and billionaires are buying up millionaires. See,
Exactly.
see, it don't care what kind of restaurant you put up. If it don't come under this name and don't on the stock market, it's over. You got to buy. It's just like a young man, Jewish man that I know. He bought up Nashville before this. In fact, he started on Church Street. He bought the Kane Sloan building. He bought both sides going on out where the Duckhead building on Charlotte, and he bought the building that I was chauffeuring in. I was retired. I got a job where the millionaires put their family, and Glenn Campbell was out there. Everybody know Glenn Campbell. I wasn't allowed, if you talk who's out here, you fired, you know. And all the big wheels. So his mother moved out there, and I used to chauffeur his mother, and she told me how he got his money. And now he hooked up with Vanderbilt and got a unit in Grants, and they added Old-Timers unit onto the place. And they got 2 cafeterias out there, and I worked out there 12 years and met every mayor, every governor. One governor that was a Democrat called me, said, "This is the man that whooped me." He said, "We friends, they friends, they shake hands." I won't call no names, but and I just seen how it works. It's a different ball game. Nobody show up. Basketball pros and none of them showed up. Football players, if they showed up, they just took one day. If everybody took one day, the laws would change and things would get back. But as long as everybody agree, it's going.
Well, money controls, we know that.
That's definitely right.
It controls. Well, at this point, has anybody got any questions in the audience out here?
I do.
Okay.
Lucius, actually, I've got several questions, Lucius.
What
So
you
we're gonna
think?
take one at a time, how about that?
several questions.
Several questions for you.
Okay.
So the first one is, how did you feel being honored as a living legend at the Lorenzo Washington Day Gala? That was our first gala.
I'm gonna say that's the greatest thing to me that ever happened, not only for me, for somebody to take all of this responsibility, cause all of this was gonna be lost and forgotten. For him, not for me, I'm speaking for all the people that have been honored and what they did and what everyone that I know that been honored, that I talk with, I know, I play with, I talk with them after they honored. You don't know what it did to their life, how many years it added on to them and made them feel so good. It's nothing no better. I tell people I told these people when I was a mailman. When I was a mailman, I was reaching for the sky. When I was one of the best dressed mailmen that you want to see. I got so many above and beyond that achievements that several supervisors said they're not gonna give you anymore. We'll promote you. I said, well, I'm not an inside, I'm not a desk man, I'm not a paper man. I love the streets. I'm an outdoor man. And they really come to me and say, I don't care what you do. Every time a complaint come out to me to make people feel good, you call and complain about me, the bosses would say, what did he do? What you did? Oh, okay, we gonna find him. Never even mentioned me about a complaint. And that, to show you what Eli Musk is doing today, it's so true. It's a lot of waste in government. After I got so good as a mailman and a friend of mine got so good as working on the inside, we had 2 bosses. When the 2 bosses come in, when every mailman hit the street, they hit the street too. They say, you got it. You got it. If any mailman get in trouble, go out there and help him. I said, boss, I help him. If anybody need help, I help him. I help him, boss. And did the same thing to clerk. He had the key to lock up the post office, go home.